Okay, today let's get started. Let's get started in child's pose today. So big toes together, knees apart. Sit back as far as your knees will allow. If your knees are silent and they don't mind bringing the hips all the way back, then do that. Arms out in front of you, forehead comes down. Let's be soft with the arms though. So let the elbows, forearms, and hands rest on the mat. When I do that, my anatomy naturally wants to fall with the hands together and the elbows flare out, but that might not be the case for you. Depends on the angle of the arms when you're resting and just standing. All that to say, just let the upper body be heavy, forehead be heavy. Eyes can be closed. Start to take a deep breath in through the nose and back out through the nose. 2 more like that together. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Inhale deeply in through the nose and back out through the nose. Keep going on your own. Listening to the sound of your own breath. Feeling it move up and down the back of the throat. We do this breath, this Ujjayi breath, to calm the nervous system, to listen to the sound of our own breath, so that we can link it with movement. It also lowers blood pressure and helps us focus and concentrate. It's sometimes called victorious breath. If you have the arms on the mat and they're heavy, see if you can bring the hands forward. Start to crawl the fingertips forward, getting longer on the sides of the body. Hips still going back toward the heels as much as the knees will allow. But now lifting the forearms away from the mat, pressing down into the hands, spreading the fingers, pressing down into all 10 fingertips. And that webbing between the index finger and the thumb, also known as the tiger's eye. Then keep the shape of the body, just lift the head up enough so you can see the hands. Stretch this right arm underneath you, threading it underneath the left arm, coming down onto the side of the head. So head's resting on the mat, right arm's reaching forward, palm up. Come back to child's pose, lift the head, switch sides. Left arm threads through underneath you, palm up, set the head down on the mat so you're looking underneath the right arm. Lift the head, left arm comes back forward. Child's pose, the traditional way, arms out in front of you. And start to lift the head. Come up to hands and knees. Bring the feet over to one side, legs out in front of you, and you're coming to seated on your mat. Just make sure the hips are more toward the center of the mat and you're not too far back. So legs out in front of you, toes pointing up. Bring the hands down by the sides. So they might reach the mat, they might not, it's fine. Shoulders are open or down the back, chest is open, rise up through the crown of the head. So you're pressing down into the lower body, hugging the belly in, lifting up through the chest, but try not to take the shoulders up toward the ears. Tip of the nose points forward and down a little bit. So now you're in Dandasana, just seated, but it's an active seat. So you're not just relaxing the legs, core is working, and you realize how much work there is in just sitting up with a straight posture. Reach the arms forward, palms facing up. Now you can start to round the spine. So hug the belly in and start to lean back. Go real slow. So we want the core to kick on. It's like you're reaching forward, belly hugs in toward the lower back. You start to round the back and you're slowly coming down closer and closer to the mat. And then eventually the upper back will touch the mat. Arms are still reaching forward. See if you can hover the feet away from the mat. Still reaching forward. Chest is lifted, looking forward at the toes. And now you're in Ardha Navasana. Interlace the fingers back behind the head. You can look up, still keeping the shoulder blades lifted, still breathing in and out through the nose. Probably experiencing some shaking too. And then on the inhale, see if you can get any longer. On the exhale, inner edges of the feet together, bring the knees in toward the body. And it's like you're bringing the knees up toward the underarm. And then extend the legs back out to where you were. Exhale, bring it back in. And you're lifting the hips up a little bit when you do that. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring it back in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, curl. Inhale, lengthen, elbows wide. Exhale, curl. Inhale, lengthen. Two more like this. Exhale, curl. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, curl. And inhale, lengthen. Set the feet down, set the head down, arms down by the sides. It's like Shavasana, just for a breath. Inhale in through the nose. Back out through the nose. Reach the arms overhead, get really long. Clasp opposite elbows overhead. Take that right foot, hook it up on top of the left foot. So you're crossing at the ankles, legs straight. Lift the upper body, bring it up and over to the left. Enough so you can still set both shoulder blades down, the head down, both hips are down on the mat. So it's a banana shape. Pose is called banana, but it's not a big curved banana. It's one that's kind of long and maybe curving at the top a little bit. Lift the upper body, bring it back to center, uncross the feet, stretch the arms overhead, and then switch the clasp of the elbows. So let's bring the other forearm on top, hook that left foot on top of the right, lift the upper body up enough so you can get it over to the right, finding that arc in the top of the body, setting both shoulder blades down, the head down, legs are long, still with your victorious breath, Ujjayi. Upper body lifts, bring it back to center, unhook the feet, reach the arms overhead, getting long, and bring the knees in toward the chest. You can rock side to side a little bit. Set the feet down onto the mat, roll over to your right side, use the left hand to press yourself up to seated. And once you get to seated, let's come to a cross-legged seat. So one shin in front of the other. Maybe shift side to side so you feel even on the sit bones. And then from here, walk the left hand out to the left, right arm reaches up and over, getting into the side body, keeping the right hip down on the mat. So sometimes that wants to lift away from the mat as you reach up and over. Bottom arm can be straight or it can be bent, whichever one feels better in your body. Chest is going forward. Sometimes the chest starts to go down toward the mat. Keep it forward. See if that gives you more length in that right side lower back, maybe the hip. Come up to center so that right arm's still reaching up. Left hand can come back behind you a little bit, not as far back as you can go. Right hand can come to the back of the thigh, or you can just rest the hand on the shin. See which one feels gentle, but still being in a twist. You don't want to go all the way into this twist. We're just starting out. Even though your body can go probably 100% of the way into the twist, it's too soon. So just be gentle with yourself. Go 3/4 of the way. Sitting up tall like we did before, hugging the core in, rising up through the crown of the head. Keep the shape of the body, just bring the gaze forward, slowly unwind to face forward, reach the arms all the way up overhead, take an inhale. On the exhale, fold forward, start to get into the hips now. Hands can come down to the mat or blocks if you can't reach. Let the head and the neck go. Again, not your deepest hip opening. Go part of the way in. And walk the hands in. Bring the hands back behind you, lean back, switch the crossing of the legs, other shin in front, maybe shift side to side a little bit. Right hand comes out to the side, left arm reaches up and over. Start with that side body opening. Both hips are down. Try not to let that left hip lift. That's your anchor. So you want that to be down so you can pull away from it and get that length on the left side body. Chest is going forward. Another way to think about that is if you had your back up against the wall, both shoulder blades would be touching. You want them to be even across the back. Come back up to seated, left arm still reaching up overhead. Open the chest to the right, right fingertips out to the side just for support. Left hand, either back of the hand to the thigh or hand just resting on the shin. Keep it gentle, going part of the way in, maybe gazing over that right shoulder gently, also not going as deep as you can. So we're waking the body up, and think about if you were going to wake someone else up, you wouldn't just go in, you would be gentle, soft, quiet in the way that you use your voice, body language, all of that. So we want to treat ourselves in the same way. Keep the body in the twist. Just bring the gaze back forward. Slowly unwind the torso so you're facing forward. Inhale the arms up overhead. On your exhale, forward fold. Start to come into this hip opening. Gently let the head and the neck go. Close the eyes. Send the breath to the hips. Walk the hands back in, bring the hands back behind you, lean back, separate the feet wide, knees side to side, windshield wipers. Coming back to center, bring the feet over to one side, come forward to hands and knees. Stacking the shoulders over the wrists, setting up for cat-cow, hips over the knees. On the inhale, reach the heart forward, lift the tail. On the exhale, round the whole spine, chin in comes toward the chest. And then keep going, eyes open or closed. Link the breath with your movement. See how your spine's feeling today. One more cycle, forward and back. Back to a neutral spine. Come on down onto your stomach. So you can come on down to the forearms first, step the feet back, set the hips down, and stack the hands. So one hand on top of the other, rest the forehead down on the hands. This gives you an opportunity to get the legs back behind you, tops of the feet to the mat, hip width distance apart. And then reach the arms forward, palms facing down, heads lifted, but only to about shoulder height, which is low. So just enough so that the face isn't touching the mat. And as you press down into the tops of the feet, lift the hands up just to shoulder height, not as high as you can go. Take an inhale for length. Exhale, cactus the arms, elbows come in toward the body as you lift the chest forward. A few more times with that. Inhale, reach the arms forward. On the exhale, cactus the arms, lift the chest, tailbone points back. Inhale, reach the arms forward, hovering them over the ground. And exhale, bring the elbows down and back. 2 more. Inhale, reach the arms forward. Exhale, cactus the arms, feeling all those back muscles work. Last one. Inhale, reach the arms forward. Exhale, cactus the arms, maybe lift and spread the chest, but keep the tailbone pointing back. And then rest. Stack the hands one on top of the other way. Rest the forehead down. Relax the legs. Maybe the ankles roll out a little bit. Then lift the head up. Bring the hands back by the lower ribs. Still pressing into the tops of the feet, coming into cobra. So chest lifts. Elbows are always bent in cobra, no matter how high you go. If the arms are straight, you've gone too far. And exhale, release. Come back up to hands and knees. Arms, hands out in front of you, so ahead of the shoulders. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. First one, if you want some movement, go ahead, pedal out the feet, maybe lift the heels up high, or you can also move the hips side to side with that one too. So whatever your ritual is, could be taking the feet a little wider, or maybe moving the head around, nodding the head yes and no a few times so the neck isn't working when it doesn't need to. Step the right foot up between the hands, coming into a runner's lunge. We'll set the back knee down, reach the arms all the way up. So coming into that lifted chest, arms up overhead, back knee is down. Grab onto that left wrist with the right index finger and thumb, pull it up and over to the right. So getting into the side body again, chest reaching forward. Come back to center, arms reaching up overhead. Bring the hands down to the mat. Watch this back foot. So this left foot, bring it in toward the center of the mat. So over to the right. Right hand comes inside the right foot. You could be up on fingertips. You could use a block underneath this hand, but keep the hand low if you can. Left arm reaches up, just straight up. So chest opens. If that right hip's going out to the right, see if you can bring it in so it's right behind the knee. That's what helps you get into that right hip. So that right arm and right leg are pressing into one another. You're lengthening the spine as much as you can and revolving the chest up toward the sky. So keep the legs the way that they are. Bring the upper body to warrior 2. So dig into that right heel. Chest comes up, you're looking over that right hand. And this is different with the back knee down. You can use the left hip to push the right hip forward, lengthening that right thigh. And then it helps you rise up through the chest. Shoulders stay in place. They're not going up toward the ears. And notice the difference between the back knee down in warrior 2, and you know what it feels like when the back knee is up and the leg is straight. Bring the hands to the hips. Turn the toes, the right toes to point forward. You'll need to stretch them out a little bit. So you want this right leg to be long. Left hand comes down to the mat. Right arm reaches up and over. So it's reverse Parigasana, reverse gate pose, getting into the right side body, feeling some length there. Right foot's on the mat, up and over with the right arm. Then keep the legs. You're coming back up to center, arms out wide. Turn those right toes to face forward. You're back in warrior two. Windmill the hands down to the mat. That left foot goes back behind you. Plant the hands, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. You're in a runner's lunge, chest reaching forward. Step back, downward facing dog. Left foot steps up between the hands. Take your time with it. Set the back knee down. When you feel ready, arms reach forward all the way up. Grab onto that right wrist with the left index finger thumb. Pull it up and over to the left. Try to keep that right shoulder in place. Feel the length in the right side of the body. Core still hugging in for support. Chest is going straight forward. Back to center, both arms reach up, hands come down to the mat. Take this right foot, back foot, bring it in toward the center of the mat. You could have the toes tucked. I like that. But if you prefer to have the top of the foot down, that's fine too. Left hand inside the left foot. You know where we're going. So give yourself more height if you want to. You can come up onto the fingertips or put a block underneath that hand. Right arm reaches straight up. So it's side angle pose with the back knee down. It gives you an opportunity to start opening up that left hip a little deeper because the arm and the leg are connected. It helps you get that left hip right behind the knee. You hug the belly in, lengthen the spine, and then open up across the chest. Legs are already there. Just bring the upper body up to warrior two. Looking over that left hand, play with taking that right hip forward to send the left hip forward. Hands in line with the shoulders, chest opening up toward the side. Hands come to the hips, look straight forward, turn those left toes to point forward, and you'll lengthen the leg out. Right hand comes down to the mat, left arm reaches up and over, still pressing down through that left foot as you reach up and over, lengthening the left side body. Reverse gate pose. Come back up to the top, lift the chest, arms out wide. Once you get there, turn those left toes out, warrior two with the back knee down. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Send the right toes straight back behind you. Find that runner's lunge, feet hip width distance apart. Send the left foot back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward to the top of the mat, step, walk, bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. 2 more times with that. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Last one, inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Surya A. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees a lot, bring the hands to the mat, step back to plank pose, lower down halfway chaturanga, hover, and then set yourself all the way down to the mat, tops of the feet to the mat, hands back by the lower ribs, Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Lower back is long. Exhale, release, downward facing dog, tuck the toes, fire up the legs, the core, lift the hips up to plank. Back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look to the top of the mat, step, walk, bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, hands come down to the mat, step back to plank pose, lower down halfway chaturanga. Option for up dog as your back bends. Stick with cobra if you prefer it. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands come together on the exhale, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to the mat, step back to plank pose, lower down halfway chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Few breaths here. One more cycle of Surya A. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Circle the arms all the way up. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. With the breath, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, bring the hands to the mat, step back to plank pose, lower down halfway chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Step the right foot up between the hands, runner's lunge. Set the back knee down to the mat. Back foot, left foot comes in toward the center of the mat, so over to the right. Right hand inside the right foot. Coming back to this side angle pose again with the back knee down. Left arm reaches up. Don't feel like you have to get that palm all the way down to the mat. Feel free to stay on the fingertips or keep a block there. But see if you can get into that right hip. Lengthen the torso as much as you can and then revolve the chest open. Dig into that right heel, take it up to warrior two with the back knee down. Looking over that right hand, pushing that right hip forward with the left hip, chest lifts, legs lower. Then bring the left hand down to the mat, turn those right toes to point forward, reach the right arm up and over. So the whole sole of the right foot is down on the mat. You're pressing the mat away from you with that left hand, reaching up and over with the right arm. Keep pressing into that right foot. See if you can lift the left knee and extend the left leg forward, coming into fallen triangle. Outer left foot can just rest down on the floor in front of you. Right hand comes to the mat, down dog, facing the back of the mat. So turned around, downward facing dog. Step the right foot forward, up between the hands. Spin the left heel down flat, right hand inside the right foot, maybe on fingertips or a block. You could also do forearm to thigh. Left arm reaches up. So same thing, but now we're lifting up that back knee. So your inside angle pose, back leg is straight. You're trying to do the same thing with the hips, bringing that right hip right behind the knee, lengthening up the spine and opening up across the chest. Take this to warrior two. Dig into that right heel, outer edge of the left foot, bring yourself up. Warrior two facing the back of the mat. Send that right hip forward using the left hip to push it forward. Straighten the front leg, bring the hands to the hips, turn the right toes in, facing the other side of the mat. Keep angling in the right toes. Turn the left toes all the way out, arms out wide. So now you're facing the front of the mat. Front leg stays straight, triangle pose. Hips shift back, left arm reaches forward. Bring that left arm down, right arm up. Turn the right palm to face forward. Reach the right arm up and over the ear. So you're rooting down through that left side body, the left leg, the right leg, as you reach up and over with the right arm. So right side of the body's getting really long, but see if you can lengthen the left side body too. That's very important as you pull that left hip back. Hands come down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Stay here or take a vinyasa. It's up to you. What does the body need? Sometimes vinyasas can be a way to cleanse before you transition over to the other side. Left foot steps up between the hands. Set the back knee down. Turn that right foot in toward the side of the mat. Left hand inside the left foot, maybe up a little higher if you want. Right arm reaches up, side angle pose. Left hip wants to go out to the side. Try to press the arm and the leg into one another to help that left hip get right behind the knee, or as close as you can get. Right arm's reaching up, lengthen the left side body so you keep the spine long. Lower body set, take it up, warrior two. Right hip is sending that left hip forward. Then turn the left toes to point toward the side of the mat, straightening the leg. Right hand comes down to the mat, left arm reaches up and over. Make sure you have a connection between the sole of the left foot and the mat. So even if that means you have to heel toe that left foot in, do it. And as you press the mat away from you, using the right hand and the sole of the left foot, get light with that right leg and see if you can extend it forward, coming into a fallen triangle. Left hand comes down to the mat, stepping back, downward facing dog, facing the back of the mat. Left foot steps up between the hands. Spin the right heel down flat, heel to arch or heel to heel. Left hand inside the left foot. Hand doesn't have to be flat. This is a deeper transition. Right arm reaches up. You can even do forearm to thigh if that feels like it would give you more space and more length in the spine especially. Take this to warrior two, always going slow, building that strength in the transition. Use the right hip to push the left hip forward, lift the chest, press down with the hands. So you're using those arm muscles instead of the shoulders. Right leg is straight. You're pressing that right thigh back to straighten the leg. Straighten the front leg, hands to the hips, turn the left toes in to face the side of the mat. Keep angling in the left toes, turn the right toes out, arms out wide, setting up for triangle. Hip shift back, reach that right arm forward, right arm comes down, left arm reaches up. Turn the left hand to face forward, reach the left arm up and over the ear, and then see how long you can get in both sides of the torso. Maybe looking up underneath that left arm, but you could look down at the right foot if that feels better on your neck. Hands come down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog, stay here or vinyasa. Right foot steps up between the hands. Set the back knee down. Left foot comes in toward the side of the mat. Right hand inside the right foot. Left arm reaches up, side angle pose, back knee down, opening up the hip, lengthening across the spine. Take this to warrior two, go slow, try not to swing up. Arms in line with the shoulders, chest opening up to the side, gaze forward. Bring the hands to the hips, turn those right toes to point forward, lengthening the leg. Lean over to the left until you can get that left hand down to the mat. Reach the right arm up and over the ear. Right foot, sole of the foot's down. Bring it in if you feel like the outer edge of the foot is lifted. Push the mat away from you, and then using the core, lightly start to lift that left leg. Extend it forward, coming into your fallen triangle. You could play with lifting the foot up away from the ground, but that's definitely way more core. Right hand comes to the mat, downward facing dog. Right foot steps up between the hands. Spin that left heel down flat, heel to arch or heel to heel. Right hand inside the foot. Left arm reaches up, side angle pose. So watch that right hip. This is where it wants to swing out to the right. You want it right behind the knee. And you're still using that outer left leg to root down through the mat. So drive it straight. Come up to warrior two. See if you can push that right hip forward any more with that back hip. Straighten the front leg, hands to the hips. Turn the right toes in to face the side of the mat. Keep angling in the right toes. Turn the left toes all the way out. Arms out wide. Hip shift back. Reach that left arm forward. Left hand comes down. Right arm reaches up. Keep the right arm up for this triangle. Last time we did extended triangle, we're staying in Trikonasana for this one. Look down at the left foot. Bend the left knee a lot. Stretch that left arm way out ahead of the left pinky toe as far as you can get it, and then start to shift the weight forward, coming into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. So you're lifting up from the outer right heel, pressing out through both feet, opening up across the chest, maybe getting light in that bottom hand. Your exit is triangle. Bend the standing leg, reach back with that right foot. Hand can come to the shin, ankle, reach the right arm up, turn that right palm to face forward, reach the right arm up and over the ear. Now you're in extended triangle, but don't take the shoulder up toward the ear. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Hands come down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog, optional vinyasa. Taking it to the other side, left foot steps up between the hands, set that back knee down, bring the right foot in, left hand inside the left foot, right arm reaches up. Get that left hip in line with the knee, lengthen out through the spine, getting the left side body long. Come up to warrior two, keep the back knee down. Look over the left hand, lengthen that left thigh forward, sending that left hip forward. Then straighten the front leg, turn the toes to point toward the side of the mat. Right hand comes down underneath the shoulder, left arm reaches up and over. Make sure the whole sole of that left foot's down on the mat. It'll make this transition so much easier, and you need that grip of the mat. So start to lift that right side oblique, lift the right leg, extend it forward, extended triangle. Maybe you play with lifting that right foot up, totally up to you. Left hand comes to the mat, downward facing dog. Left foot steps up between the hands. Spin that right heel down flat, heel to arch or heel to heel. Left hand inside the left foot, right arm reaches up, side angle pose. Watch that left hip, see if you can get it in alignment. Lengthen the left side body. So it's like you're trying to reach the left underarm forward, but try not to take the left hip with you. Back leg is strong, warrior two. Straighten the front leg, hands to the hips. Turn those left toes in, angle in the left toes, turn the right toes all the way out, arms out wide, triangle pose, Trikonasana. Right hand comes down, left arm reaches up. So keeping the arms 12 and 6 o'clock for now. Lengthen the right side body by pulling that right hip back and reaching that right underarm forward. Look down at the right foot, bend the right knee as much as you can, reach forward ahead of that right pinky toe and start to shift the weight forward, coming into your Ardha Chandrasana. Highest point of the pose, outer left heel. Get as light as you can in that bottom hand. Press out through the legs, spread the arms out wide, lengthen out through the crown of the head. Take your time, come back to triangle pose, Trikonasana. Go slow. Good. Turn that left palm to face forward, reach that left arm up and over the ear, extended triangle. Keep opening up across the chest, pulling that right hip back, lengthening the right side body. Hands come down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Stay here or take a vinyasa. One last cycle. We'll go a little faster, but you've got the flow. This is our last time. Right foot steps up between the hands. Set the back knee down. Bring that left foot in toward the side of the mat. Right hand inside the foot. Left arm reaches up. Side angle pose. Back knee down. Take it up. Warrior two. Turn those right toes in, lengthen the leg. Left hand comes down to the mat. Right arm reaches up and over. Root down through that right foot. Lift the left leg, extend it forward. Maybe you don't touch the floor. Right hand comes down to the mat. Downward facing dog. Feet hip width distance apart. Right foot steps up between the hands. Spin that left heel down flat. Right hand inside the right foot, left arm reaches up, side angle pose. Take it up to warrior two. Straighten the front leg, hands to the hips, turn those right toes in, keep angling them in, turn the left toes out, arms out wide, triangle pose, Trikonasana. Right arm reaches straight up to the sky. Look down at the left foot, bend the left knee, reach forward ahead of the left pinky toe, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Glide forward, press out through the legs, hug the core in, open up across the chest. Back to triangle pose, land light. Right arm reaches up, turn that right palm to face forward, right arm stretches up and over the ear, extended triangle. Hands come down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Stay here, or you have time to flow if you'd like through a vinyasa. Left foot steps up between the hands, set the back knee down, right foot comes in, left hand inside the left foot, right arm reaches up. Warrior two, back knee down. Turn the left toes to point forward, lengthen the leg. Right hand comes down to the mat. Left arm reaches up and over. Make sure that left foot's down on the mat. Lift that right leg forward, extend it. Maybe you hover the leg. Left hand comes down, downward facing dog. Feet hip width. Left foot steps up between the hands. Spin the right heel down flat. Left hand inside the left foot. Right arm reaches up, side angle pose. warrior two, facing the back of the mat. Straighten the front leg, hands to the hips, turn the left toes in, keep angling them in, turn the right toes out, arms out wide, triangle pose. Hips go back, right hand down, left arm up. Get as long as you can in that right side body. Then look down at the right foot, bend the right knee, reach forward ahead of the right pinky toes, half moon, glide forward, make sure that back leg is strong. And that right sit bone is pointing straight back as you open up across the chest. Back to triangle pose, bend the standing leg as you reach back with the left foot. Once you get it, turn that left palm to face forward, stretch the left arm up and over the ear, extended triangle. Hands come down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Be happy here or take one more vinyasa. From downward facing dog, step the right foot up between the hands. Hop the back foot in like warrior one. Then keep that front knee bent like a lunge. So option to keep this back heel down. If it's too much, skip it. Left hand underneath the left shoulder, right arm reaches up for a twist. See if you can keep that right hip in line with the right knee. Right hand comes down to the mat, straighten the front leg, fold over that right leg, Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Then come to a lunge, step back, downward facing dog. Left foot steps up between the hands. Hop the back foot in, seal the heel down like warrior one. Both feet down on the mat, right hand underneath the right shoulder, left arm reaches up, lengthen, try to keep that left hip in line with the left knee as you open the chest to the side. Left hand comes down to the mat, straighten the front leg, fold over the left leg. Then hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Once you get to downward facing dog, glide forward to plank pose, lower all the way down to the mat slowly. So you're lying down onto your stomach, tops of the feet to the mat. This time, arms reach out in front of you like we did before, palms face down, press into the tops of the feet, lift the arms no higher than shoulder height. Look down the bridge of the nose, see if you can hover the feet away from the mat, but try to keep them hip distance high. So you're not going any higher than the hips with the feet. Take an inhale. On the exhale, cactus the arms, reach the chest forward, use those back muscles. Inhale, reach the arms forward out in front of you, hover the feet if you can. Exhale, cactus the arms, elbows down and back. Inhale, reach the arms forward. Last one. Exhale, cactus the arms, elbows down and back. Set the feet down, set the head down, rest the head on top of the hands. Lift the feet up, and then you can move the feet side to side like windshield wipers. Set the feet back down onto the mat. Bring the hands to the mat. Take child's pose. Big toes together. Sit the hips back. Arms out in front of you or back behind you. Shoulders have done enough. Hands come down in front of you, lift the head and the chest, bring the feet to one side, find seated on your mat. But if you're way back like me, scoot forward so hips are in the center of the mat. And then from here, let's take the back of the left thigh. So grab onto the back of the left thigh, open up the knee to the side, bring the sole of the left foot inside the right leg, wherever it wants to land. And then open the chest up toward the left. So you're coming into a twist with the legs in this tree shape seated. Sit up tall. Fingertips are underneath you to help you lengthen the spine. You can stay right here. You're already in the twist, looking over that left shoulder. If it feels like it would be supportive, you could bring the back of the right hand to the thigh, but try to use it as a kickstand and not a gas pedal. Right toes point straight up. Both hips are even on the mat. And as you press down to the sit bones, that's what helps you sit up taller. Keep the body in the twist. Just look at the right toes. So bring the gaze back forward. Body still in the twist. Right arm reaches forward, palm up on top of the leg. Left arm reaches up and over. You're still opening the chest to the side. So one last side body opening. Both hips are down, especially that left hip. We're coming up the way we came in. So that left arm brings you back up to that seated twist, not as deep as you can go, but chest pointing toward that left knee. And then start to unwind the upper body, bringing the chest to point forward toward the right toes. Reach the arms all the way up overhead. Fold down over this right leg, Janu Shirshasana. So hands can come down to the mat, the leg. If the foot's right there and you can easily reach it without taking the shoulders, go for it. Head comes down toward the knee, close the eyes, breathe here. Left hip still rooted. Start to bring yourself back up to seated. Use the left hand to bring the left knee back to center, extending the left leg, and you'll do the same thing other side. Grab onto the right thigh, open it out to the side. Right foot comes inside the left leg. Start to open the chest to the right. Use the fingertips to sit up as tall as you can. And then be happy here, looking over the right shoulder. You could bring the back of the left hand to the right thigh, only if it feels supportive. Left toes point up, shoulders away from the ears. Ujjayi breath. Keep the body in the twist. Just start to bring the gaze forward, looking at the left toes, pointing straight up. Left arm reaches forward over the left leg, palm up. Reach the right arm up and over, both hips down. One last side body opening, opening up the chest toward the side. Start to use that right arm to bring yourself back up, chest still pointing toward the right knee. And then you can start to use the hands to bring the chest forward. Chest points toward the left toes. Reach the arms all the way up. Take an inhale. Exhale, forward fold over the left leg. Let the hands rest down on something, mat, leg, maybe the foot as you fold over. Hands start to walk in, coming back up to seated. Right hand brings the right knee back to center, extending the leg out in front of you. This time, reach the arms all the way up. Fold over the legs on the exhale. Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Rest the hands on something, feet, legs, mat. Come back up to seated, back to Dandasana, what we did before. So hands down by the sides, pressing down into the legs, hugging the core and lifting the chest, but keeping the shoulders away from the ears. look straight forward, reach the arms forward, palms facing up, hug the core in, start to lean back with the upper body, hugging the core in to support the lower back. Legs are still strong, extended out in front of you. And as you reach forward, you feel that rounding of the spine as you get closer and closer to the mat. Once the shoulder blades want to touch down, just let the bottom tips of the shoulder blades touch down, arms still reaching forward, and then slowly recline all the way back. Head rests down on the mat, turn the toes out, arms down by the sides, let the body go. Shavasana, final relaxation pose. See if you can come straight into stillness after all of that movement. You'll start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Reach the arms overhead, find a stretch. Walk the feet in, bending the knees, rolling over to your right side, cradling the head and the arm. Unless the right side's uncomfortable, you can always go to the left side, but right side is the preferred side because of that vagus vein that's on the other side. All right, use the hands, bring yourself up to seated. Whatever your meditation seat looks like, you're going for comfort more than anything else, in a tall spine, eyes closed. Bring the hands together in front of you. Keep the lift of the chest as you start to bow the head, taking a moment to yourself to honor and acknowledge your heart and spirit, as well as everyone around you. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thanks so much. A lot of side body opening today, but also some deep hip opening. So it's a nice way to change things up when you do some of those standing poses with the back knee down helps when you come into it with the back leg or the back knee up to see what the difference is. All right, enjoy your day.